rent-free MMA. 3 cards, man. This has been a kind of a gauntlet.
I know it's been out hella crazy, but I love it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
But 3 cards, like, I just feel like man, that's a whole lot of time being spent on MMA. Like, I feel like I mean, again, like I like it, but man, like back to back, it's hard to like kind of prepare, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
it's just happening really fast.
as
I'm not
long as
used to it.
as long as we keep winning, then that's all that matters.
Yeah, I guess that's all that matters. But
Yeah.
so the last event, I mean, uh, Teixeira, I love that dude, man. I'm such a huge fan of Teixeira. Like, he's such a nice dude. He seems like somebody's cool ass uncle, like, but he's such a badass, you know. Like, he's like he went ahead and took out a young gun.
Yeah.
Dude who was 10 years younger than him, and
Yep.
he looked better than ever. He honestly looked better than ever. Like,
Yep.
in his last fight, the fight before that, when he fought Nikita Krylov, I thought he was gonna fall off a cliff because, like, just, I mean, in no way in hell that he should he have gone to a split decision with Nikita Krylov. You know, and Nikita gets finished in all of his losses, and yet he went to a split decision, and he kind of struggled finishing Nikita. So I'm like, is this that moment where Glover is just gonna fall off the cliff and you know, be old, you know?
Yeah.
And then in this fight, dude was moving his head, he was slipping, he was rolling with the punches really well. His technique was looking good. Like he was going to the body, then he was going high. He was showing leg kicks. He did a lot of really good stuff that I really like. Like, and he knows that he's slow. Like, you know, he's at an advanced age, and so, like, you know, he's not gonna slip every single punch. But the punches that was getting in, he was rolling with it really well. And I was like, oh, holy crap! Like,
Yeah.
Glover is looking better at 40 years old. Like, he looked a whole lot better. I mean, obviously he's not like a contender. Like, he's gonna go out there and give John Jones, you know, like, problems. I don't think. But again, like, man, I'm so impressed by him being this old and working through this, being a young guy. You know,
Yeah. I
it's
mean,
really cool to see.
what I noticed was right after we finished with the podcast was that I
Mhm.
went back and watched the weigh-ins, and I was like, wow. I was like, wow, I haven't seen Glover look this good physically since his last number one contender fight and also the title shot when he lost. So I mean, I was like, wow, he looks great. He was super lean. His body fat was low.
Yeah.
And he just looked great. He looked confident. So then I ended up putting a few units on him, and then first round was kind of hairy, but I mean, it just around 2, 3, 4. I mean, it was pretty much all Glover at that point.
Yeah, it looks like he 5 round Glover. He didn't slow down either. And
Yeah.
even then, like, even when he took a really hard punch to the eye, and I know his eye got a little bit swollen. As
Mm.
soon as that happened, he went straight after freaking Anthony Smith, and that's where the tide turned. Is
Yeah.
when Anthony Smith actually had him hurt, and then he just turned it on and went berserker and turned the tide like that instant. I was really impressed. Like, I really like to see that out of Glover. And again, like, I'm a huge fan of Glover. Like, I love the dude, you know.
Yeah.
Like, old man, win for the old guys, you know.
Yeah.
Then you know what's another funny thing that happened during Ray Borg and Ricky Simone. Ray Borg was like, "Come on, kid," and
Mhm.
Ricky Simone was all like, "I'm older than you."
Yeah.
That was so funny. I was fucking dying when I heard that. Like, because the arena is so damn, like, quiet. Like you hear these things. It's so funny.
Yep.
That was
Uh,
hilarious.
how about Dober, huh?
Dober, man. You know what's crazy about Dober? Like, dude, he was getting beaten to the punch. Like, he was losing. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like he was getting like, what's his face was doing the right thing. Alex
Hernandez.
Hernandez, he was doing all the right things. He was sticking and moving, hitting them and moving and things like that. But Dober, he just kind of channeled his inner, like, Gaethje, and just really just gave one to take one to give one, take one to give one, and eventually, like, it was he made it into a kind of like a war of attrition, right? And then took Hernandez out.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Dober was doing right on the feet. I mean, I didn't think he was losing. I gave Dober that first round.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that too. Yeah, I mean, he was. It was just that, you know, Hernando was having success. His game plan was looking, you know, like, good up
Yeah.
until Dober was like, "Fuck this! I'm going to take a punch for a punch, and then you're not going to be able to withstand more punishment than like I can." You know, because Dober has that fucking grin. I mean, his jaw is fucking huge,
Yep.
right?
Yep. And
Yeah, that
he
was
trains
funny.
at Team Elevation along with
Yeah,
Gaethje and
yeah.
also Alistair Overeem trains there now.
Oh wow, Overeem training there for this camp.
Yeah. So we'll
I
talk
didn't know
about
that.
that later.
Interesting. So let's just kind of highlight a couple other good performances, and let's move on to the breakdown. Which this recap is going to just be 10 minutes, and then so fast forward to 10 minutes if you want to just get straight to it.
Yep.
But Brian Kelleher, man, he looked great. I picked Hunter Azure just because I mean I wasn't confident in it, but I just kind of like I like what I saw from him, and I was just feeling like Kelleher is going to be like this is as good as he's gonna get, but like, he looked a whole lot better. Like he looked new and improved, and he looked smooth. He looked like really great at 145. That was a clean left hook.
Yeah. I mean, I felt that Kelleher. I mean, I already bet on him before our podcast, but I liked his skill set against Azure, and I didn't
He's
expect
smooth.
Azure. I didn't expect Azure to come out that hot in the first round and
Yeah,
basically just gas out going into the second. So he was
yeah,
tired. He was tired going. He wasn't gassed out in the second, but he was tired going into the second, and then he just basically left himself open for that punch, and boom, there we go.
yeah. That was a really clean knockout. I really liked the way that everything was set up. What
Yeah.
about Arlovsky? How the heck is this guy still winning at 40 years old? So the old guys are winning last night. I mean, yeah, last night.
Yeah, this was my second most
Interesting.
confident bet of the night. Not that Arlovsky was going to win, but that it was going to start round three.
Over? Yeah, the over. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just had
Interesting.
to.
Yeah.
It just no, not even the over. It just had to last 10 minutes. So,
Yeah.
so
And
yeah, I liked. So before that fight even happened, Lynn's. I mean, he's good. He's good. He hits hard and all that stuff. But if
he's
you
a
have
light
a
heavyweight, huh?
if you have a mobile opponent, if he has a mobile opponent in front of him, then he's not going to be able to land his shots as clean as we've seen in the PFL. So knowing that Arlovsky was coming off of all those losses and he's in general a defensive fighter, and also that he just made that one hiccup in his last fight where he rushed in and then he was slow and he got countered by a faster guy. I knew he wasn't going to make that mistake this time. So I mean starting round three was just like it just seemed like I don't want to say a lock, but it just seemed like a really good bet
And you know
pre-fight.
what? Orlovsky, for the first time ever, this guy's showing new wrinkles. I mean, not for the first time, but he's showing new wrinkles to his game. Like he's working with Masvidal's coach, Paulino Hernandez, and so fighting southpaw. Like that was impressive. I'm
Yeah,
like before like when Orlovsky was getting knocked out, he was just right hand heavy. He was just throwing nothing but right hands,
yeah.
and nothing else. But now he's throwing jabs, kicks. He's going southpaw. Like yo, somebody taught this old dog some new tricks.
One thing I didn't notice or that I wasn't aware of is that both guys train at ATT. So
They
I
must
don't.
have known each other, huh?
Well, I mean, I know that at ATT, if they both train at the main one in South Florida, that big facility, if all the Russians train with all the Russians, all the Brazilians train with all the Brazilians, and everyone else who's like African American or white or whatever else, like Hispanic, all those people train together. So like the Russians and Brazilians are kind of separate, and then
Yeah.
everyone else kind of trains together. So
Interesting.
I'm not sure if they actually trained together, Linz and Arlovsky, but I know they're both at ATT.
Yeah. And what about Michael Johnson? He's winning until he isn't. That's his career. That's just him. He's winning until he isn't.
Yeah, yeah, as I posted on Sherdog, I had my one unit on Johnson at plus 100, and then before that fight started, I was like, all right, I don't like this because was thinking about how it might play out, and I switched to 2.5 units at plus 100 for what's the guy's name, Moises, and then I also
Hmm.
put a half a unit on inside the distance, so that ended up working out well.
Yeah.
I didn't expect Moises to not land any punches or strikes in the first round.
Yeah.
He didn't land. I think he landed like one strike throughout the whole fight, or one or two
Yeah.
strikes throughout the whole fight. That was it.
I wonder if Michael Johnson even trains jiu-jitsu. To be honest, I feel like I don't think he trains jiu-jitsu at all. I really don't think he trains like a lick of jiu-jitsu. Like
Hmm.
I don't even think he puts on a gi. Like he's never put on a gi. So like all those years, it's funny to me.
Yeah.
All right, so that was a little just quick recap of what the last event looked like. Let's get on to the breakdowns.
Hmm.
Do you have any news for me? Like, I think you mentioned somebody's out, right? Who's out?
Oh yeah. Before we start this new part, I want to say a wise man once told me never bet on Henry Hoof's fighters. So thank you,
Bro,
Johnny.
no,
Thank you, Johnny.
no. I did not say Henry Hoof fighters. No, Henry Hoof fighters, they're good. But the thing is, Henry Hoof is not. He's not a head coach. He's not a head coach.
Hmm.
He's a striking coach. He should
Yeah.
not be like spearheading anybody's fight camp, because his fighters they make so much brain farts. It's like a brain fart, except Usman so far, you know. So, anyways, let's move on.
All right.
The good one, but
But yeah,
we
so
have
yeah,
UFC on ESPN, Overeem versus Harris. Overall, it's just matchups they're throwing in there. It's you know, it seems like it's one of those hangover cards after that big ass UFC 249 card, and then now we're just getting like the aftershocks events. They're okay matchups. Um, what were you gonna say?
oh, I was gonna say you're about to ask me a little bit ago who was out, and
Oh, okay,
it's
yeah.
Mike Davis. So Mike Davis is
Mike
that
Davis.
that fight is canceled now. So
Oh man,
we're down to
that would have
10
been a good
fights.
kickboxing match.
Yeah.
No replacement, huh?
Not that I know of. So Giga Jikatsi is just basically hoping to get a replacement, but we don't know for sure if he's going to get one or not. But Mike
Yeah, it's only
Davis
two
is out.
days from now, so all
Yeah, we'll
right.
see.
All right, let's get straight to it then. And give people get straight to it. We have a heavyweight bout. Rodrigo Nascimento Ferreira versus Dontel Mays. I don't really know. I don't know anything about this dude. I don't want to give a solid opinion, but like if I'm gonna fight Finder Cap, I see that this Nascimento guy has some submissions on his record. He's undefeated. Um, and he's Brazilian. He's Brazilian, obviously.
Yeah.
So he's got some Kimuras, armbars, triangle chokes, rear naked chokes, and they're all coming pretty early. So I'm assuming that he's a submission specialist. And Dontel Mays got heel hooked in his last fight.
Yeah.
And also looking at Dontel Mays' record, he looks like he got TKO'd by Alan Crowder. And I actually saw that fight. Dontel Mays got tired, and then like Crowder got on top of him and just countered him out. So it doesn't seem like Dontel Mays trains much jiu-jitsu, if at all.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's just what I'm coming up with here.
Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, I mean for this fight, I don't know much about Nascimento. But what I do know is that the person who he won that fight to get into the UFC against
Michael
what's that?
Martinek.
Yeah,
Triangle.
so that guy's not good. I already know that. He had a good record, like 8-0 or something.
Yeah.
He was undefeated at the time. But I already know that guy's not good. So Nascimento winning over him or beating him is not really exciting, or doesn't really tell me much. What gives me some pause from betting Nascimento or either side is the fact one of the things is that Nascimento he finishes fast. So if you look at his record, he's 7-0 and 6 of those fights ended in the first round. So I'm curious, like, what's his gas tank like? Is he going to be able to last? Is he gonna what happens if it gets outside of the second round? Is he gonna be okay if he can't get that takedown? So I'm not really sure about his long-term skill set as far as going deep into the fight.
Right. Yeah.
At,
Because male Dontel, he has a bunch of fights that go a little bit longer while man, what do we call this guy? I don't know what they call him, but the Brazilian, most of his fights finish fast.
yeah, and then so there's that for the Brazilian, but then we have Dontel Mays, who I know a little bit about. We'll just talk about his last fight, for example, against Cyril Gagne, however you want to say it, the French guy. So so Cyril is not really a wrestler, and he's a striker. However, Cyril got him down 3 different times, so he got 3 takedowns on him, and then he ended up subbing him in was a third, I think it was, or something like that. So if you're getting taken down 3 times by a striker who's just learning how to grapple, it's not really looking too good for you. Um, let's see here. I don't know. I guess if it stays on the feet, Dontel Mays might have an advantage. He's 3 inches taller, and he has what's the reach difference here? We have all right. So we have Rodrigo is 6'2", and Dontel is 6'6". So 6'2" or 6'3", depending on the website you're looking at for Rodrigo. So Dontel either has a 3 to 4 inch height advantage, and then reach is just 1 inch difference, 80-inch versus 81 inches, both orthodox. So I mean, I guess it's a total pass for me. I'm not going to pick either guy, but if it goes long, I guess I'll favor Dontel. If it ends early, I guess I'll favor Rodrigo. Gun to the head, I'd probably just pick Rodrigo and maybe by sub or inside the distance, just because Dontel Mez was able to get taken down 3 times by that big strong guy who was a striker in his last fight. But I mean, overall, it's a pass for me.
All right. So by the way, the odds are even pretty much. They're 110 apiece. Just again, like I'm no authority on this fight, just because I don't know too much about either guy. So either way, but I'm just looking at the odds. Like for me, like I go by a principle of like whoever is the better ground fighter, I tend to favor more.
Mm-hmm.
And so because the odds are even, I feel like, man, if this guy gets him to the ground, I feel like he should definitely have the advantage. And most, again, like I said, most guys who have the ground advantage should be the favorite here. So
Yeah.
I might bet on this Brazilian just by out of principle. It won't be too much though. It'd be silly of me to put a lot of on it, just because I don't know too much about them. But here's another bet that I kind of like as well. Like I mentioned, Dontel Mays. He seems like a very patient guy, and a lot of his fights kind of go like longer than usual.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Nascimento no scorecards at the same price, which is even. And so I'm guessing, if it goes to decision, it might have been a close fight.
Mm-hmm.
But if the fight finishes, like I mentioned, like this guy, Mays have been heel hooked before. He's been grinded pounded by Alan Crowder of all people. So I'm gonna go with that line with that. I just looked at it right now, and so I like it.
So what was the line you went with?
The Brazilian man, he has to have some type of nickname. The Brazilian by no scorecards.
Okay.
It's a negative 115, which I like. I like it a lot actually.
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds good.
That's what I'm going with. Yeah. Any do you oppose at all?
No. I'll probably look at it later, but no bet for me right now.
Cool. All right. Moving on. See, it's a heavyweight fight. Sloppy, unknown guys. You should definitely not, hang your head on having too much money on these type of fights. But I'm gonna play for some action. Out of
All right.
principle. Moving on. So the next fight after that, a featherweight bout between Darren Elkins versus Nate Landwehr. Now, Nate Landwehr is a newcomer. I don't understand why the UFC, like, because I've seen some clips of Landwehr's fights on YouTube, and this guy's he looks like a fun character. Like he looks, like his personality is a little out there. He comes to bang. He's kind of a Just Bleed disciple type character, and yet they give him a bunch of grapplers. Like I don't understand why the UFC would sign somebody who like they expect to be fun, and then go ahead and like throw a bunch of grapplers at him and make it a not fun fight. Like it just
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like the UFC don't know what the hell they're doing when they're trying to build like an exciting matchup. So whatever.
Yeah.
The odds on this fight, we have a slight favorite toward Darren Elkins at negative 130, and the newcomer Nate Landwehr is at plus 110. We know what Darren Elkins is. He is the damage. As far as his damage meter, we don't know how the heck it's looking at right now. I mean, we know he's notoriously tough, and he's like a cockroach. You keep stepping on him, and he just fucking keeps coming back.
Yeah.
So that's who Darren Elkins is, and like I don't need to introduce you to him, because if you're an MMA fan, you know exactly what he's coming with here. But like damn, I wonder what his damage meter is looking like at this point. And I know Nate is coming here to kill. So I don't know, man. I mean, like the smart money should be on Darren Elkins, because he's proven himself to be a good, up like. Actually, what's kind of funny that Darren Elkins has been an underdog his entire career, and this is the first time he's actually coming in as a favorite here.
Mm-hmm.
and he pulled it off as an underdog plenty of times. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Darren Elkins here by decision. He's more of a known quantity, and if you're gonna be coming out swinging wild like that, like you know, I don't think you know, but who knows? Like maybe Nate comes out here and shows a new wrinkle to. I mean, shows a more composed game. But what are your thoughts on this one?
So, um, even though I haven't bet this fight yet, I feel really good about Elkins in this fight. So we have Nate Landwehr. Let me talk about their stats real fast. We have Darren
Oh,
Elkins. He's 5'10". Nate Landwehr is 5'9". Elkins has a 71-inch reach, and Landwehr has a 72-inch reach, and they're both orthodox. Um, as far as how I see the fight going, I see that prior to even getting into the UFC, I watched some of Landwehr's fights, and then seeing how he fought in his debut, he comes out fighting like really wild and kind of reckless in that first round, even in the first 1 to 2 or 1.5 rounds, and then he starts to slow down. He doesn't get like super gas, but he's basically pedal to the metal, trying to get you out of there fast. And if he can't get you out of there by a certain amount of time, then he's gonna relax and kind of like slow down his pace just so he doesn't like burn himself out. Um, it kind of reminds me a little bit of I'm not sure if you remember Chad Mendes when he fought against Nick Lentz. It seemed like Nick Lentz was about to get knocked out. He was eating all these shots, all these power shots, and then once Chad Mendes saw that he couldn't knock him out, he just slowed down and just kind of like picked his shots and kept moving around, and he was trying to regain his energy. Um, that's how I see Nate Landwehr fighting. He's no Chad Mendes, but as far as him trying to give it his all as fast as possible and then kind of slowing down, that's how I kind of see him. And then speaking of Chad Mendes, we have Darren Elkins. He trains at the same gym that Chad Mendes trained at. Chad is
I don't think
retired
Shed's
now.
fighting. Yeah.
Yeah, he retired now, but it's kind of the same idea as far as he's going to be able to get the same looks because they're all like wrestle boxers over there. Darren Elkins is going to be the guy with much more with better cardio. He has the wrestling advantage, the jiu-jitsu advantage. His chin I mean, he keeps getting hit a lot, but his chin is still pretty decent, even though he lost inside the distance in one of his past 3 losses. Then that was against Ricardo Lamas. So I'm not gonna. That was late. That was late in the 3rd round. So I'm not gonna hold that against him. He didn't get knocked out against Volkanovski, and then he lost to Ryan Hall after that. But
Right.
I think that I'm not entirely sure if it's gonna end inside the distance or go to a decision, but just seeing how they both fight and knowing that Elkins can eventually get him down, and just like he'll hang on him, he'll hug him, he'll drag him to the ground, and once he gets him to the ground, he's just gonna put it on him. Now I'm kind of talking myself into inside the distance.
I don't think he's gonna go inside the distance because Nate Landwehr just doesn't seem. He seems like a guy that is gonna be living by the like he doesn't. I think you're gonna have to put him away to put him out cold in order to stop him because he seems like a guy that's gonna fight like because like Darren Elkins he kind of breaks guys' spirits down
Mhm.
and I don't think he's gonna break Nate's spirit down and so I think it's more likely that he'll win decision.
Mhm.
But I see what you're trying to say. But yeah, Nate doesn't seem like the guy that's going to. You can kind of see it in his personality. He's not gonna lay down and get broken, So yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Darren Elkins by decision here.
All right, I'd rather
Or
just take
yeah,
the money line to be safe at minus
fair
130.
enough. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the
So,
over as well, just in case like somehow Nate just lands that a hard shot in the 3rd round or something like that, and it just rocks Elkins somehow or something like that. So
mm,
yeah, I'm gonna go Elkins, and then also a little bit on the over as well.
yep. All right.
Yep. Um, what are you gonna play? Do you have like a money line?
I'll probably do the money line with a little bit on. on maybe inside the distance, or I'll figure it out later. But definitely I'll play the money line, minus 130 or better.
Okay. Courtney Casey versus Mara Romero Varela. I'm gonna let you take the lead on this because they're go ahead.
All right, so I'm definitely gonna pick Casey here. I was hoping that the lines would be much closer, but so she opened at a minus one. So Courtney Casey opened at minus 155. She got all the way down to minus 165. Now it's back to minus 155. I was hoping to get better odds. I do think Casey's going to win this. She has a little bit of a height advantage. Let me say the
She's
stats.
moving up in weight, right? In 115 to 125, apparently.
1 second.
I don't know who the other girl is, but I think I saw a little bit of her fighting Lauren Murphy, and it looked like she just like doesn't like to get hit. So Lauren Murphy hit her with like a knee or something like that, and she just like just crumbled. Like she doesn't like she likes to get hit. And looking at her record, it shows that she's been TKO 3 times, tapped out once.
Yeah.
So and Courtney Casey, her nickname is Cast Iron, and she fights exactly like a cast iron skillet would. A skillet is that shit's heavy as fuck. It's super slow, but it's kind of tough, Like Courtney Casey is kind of tough, but she's super slow and she moves like she's stuck in the mud, But she's she's hard to hurt.
So we have Courtney Casey. She is 5'7", and Barella is 5'6". Casey has a 67-inch reach. Barella has a 69-inch reach. Strikes landed per minute are 4.80 for Courtney Casey, 2.61 for Barella, so it's a big difference there. We have Casey. She eats a lot of shots, 4.73. Barella, 2.60. So basically, it looks like they take one to give one. They give one to take one, however you want to say it. So if basically Casey throws a lot more, but she eats just about the same. Barella throws a lot less, but she eats about the same. So going back to what I was about to say, I think that Casey's going to win this one. She has more ways to win this. While she's not some amazing striker, she throws a lot of straight shots, and the straight shots I think are going to get to Barella. Barella's going to try to mix in some kicks, which is going to be part of her downfall, because while she's mixing in those kicks, she's going to be eating straight punches.
Is Barella a wrestler? Because I thought she was a wrestler or something. I remember her fighting a striker girl, and her name was Taylor Santos, something in her record, and she took her down a bunch of times and just kind of laid her. So is that not her? She's not a wrestler or something?
She could get some takedowns, but she's not a wrestler per se. No.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna let you finish. Go ahead. I don't know.
Yeah. She's kind of a jack of all trades as far as her skill set, but she's not even good at anything. So she's like, she could get takedowns. She knows jiu-jitsu. She has some striking skills, but she's not good at anything. She trains. I'm pretty sure she still trains at ATT. Let me double check that. Yeah, she's still at ATT. And how I see this going is that I think that Casey's going to win a unanimous decision. I even see a possibility of her getting a submission if it hits the mat. I think she has a chance of getting a submission over Barella. I even put a bet on it. We have Courtney Casey submission plus 950.
I'm not mad at that.
Casey's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, and she teaches jiu-jitsu at her I forgot what gym she's at, but she teaches I think kids jiu-jitsu, but she's a brown belt. And then Barella, she has a little bit of BJJ skills, but she's only a blue belt. So yeah, I feel good about Courtney winning. Again, the line is not where I want it to be, so I'm not gonna bet on the money line, but I'm fine with the bet on her submission line at plus 950.
Okay. Me, I'm not a fan of low-level WMMA, so I'm not going to expand too much on it. However, there is a line that I do see here. Now, like you mentioned the decision, like she's actually just 2-6 when it comes to decisions. I'm not saying that she can't win a decision here. However, I do like another one here where it's a no scorecards action here. Her line is negative 140 for that. I don't mind playing that because this girl got knocked out by Lauren Murphy um in that third round. Looks like she was tiring, and then she looks like she doesn't like getting hit. So maybe Courtney Casey, moving up 10 pounds might give her a little bit more energy and maybe like have her, pull stronger and have a late finisher. And yeah, I'm going to play that negative 140 for her no score cards equals no action. But as far as money line goes, definitely no action on this for me.
Hmm. Yeah, that minus 140 is not a bad line.
No, it
Casey
really
does
isn't.
Casey does have the better cardio, and once Barella starts getting hit, she's gonna start getting tired. So minus 140 is maybe that's not bad.
Yeah, yeah. Any other thoughts on this one?
No, that's about it.
Okay. The next fight is supposed to be Mike Davis versus Giga Chikadze, which would have been a really good striking match. But I guess Mike Davis. What happened to him, anyways?
I think it might have been due to the weight cut. I'm not sure. I thought I saw a weight cut, but I'm not exactly sure, so I
Interesting.
don't want to speak out of turn. But yeah, it's unfortunately it's canceled. That was going to be like one of the
Good one. A
one
fun
of the
fight. Really good one.
better fights on the card.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. All right, let's moving on. Then the next fight after that is going to be a middleweight bout between Anthony Hernandez versus Kevin Holland. I don't know what to make of Kevin Holland sometimes. Like, it seems like he's just having too much fun in there, and like he's not he's not a very high IQ guy. Like he's putting himself in bad positions all the damn time. And and before I kind of get into it, what the odds for that is, they're even. The odds are even. 115 for Hernandez and 105 for Holland. Um, I I think I kind of like the line. I think Kevin Holland is gonna win, but like as soon as I bet on him, he'll do a lot of stupid shit. Like
Yeah.
even in his wins, he does a lot of stupid shit. He makes it a lot harder on himself. I don't understand this guy sometimes. But um, as far as Anthony Hernandez goes, like I'm not really sure how good he is. He seems like a very spirited fighter. He seems like a guy who's going to keep coming forward. He fights off of like pure will, and like he was losing to that Asian dude, the Korean dude, uh, Jun Young Park here. He was losing a striking match. He was actually, getting pieced up a little bit, and then eventually, like he just kept coming, kept coming, kept coming. It seems like he's a very determined fighter. What I was trying to get at, and then eventually got him down and caught a submission. So he seems like a determined, aggressive guy, but he doesn't look very like technical or too good anywhere else. Other than that, it looks like he has a lot of submissions on his record. But I think Holland's a pretty difficult guy to submit. I know
Mhm.
Brendan Allen like choked him out in his last fight, which is really weird, just because Holland puts himself in these stupid positions where he could get choked out. But I think he's a really difficult guy to choke out, and I think he's probably going to be the better striker here, especially better at range. And I think even with their grappling, I think it might be like an equal playing field, because I don't think too much of Anthony Hernandez's grappling. I think they might be equal here. So I like Kevin Holland here. I like the money line. But if I would I be surprised if Hernandez just out hustles him? Like I would not be surprised, just because Kevin Holland is I don't know, he's like an idiot in there. So I don't know, man. Oh man, yeah. What are your thoughts? Not a safe bet. You can. I don't think I'd be super confident betting on this, but I do like Kevin Holland here at even odds.
Yeah, I actually didn't even know the lines were even around there. So what, minus
Yeah.
105? Yeah, minus 105 for Holland.
Holland
Yeah.
has a win over Jeff Neal. What the fuck, man? And I saw that fight too. Jeff Neal was teeing off on a dude, and Kevin Holland, he has a really, really high pain threshold, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can eat punches. Like when he made his debut against Thiago Santos, Santos was beating the shit out of this dude, and he's like, "Ow, why are you hitting me so hard?"
Mm.
That's a fucking idiot.
All right. So before I even speak, I just put a unit on Holland at minus 105.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Um, so earlier today, I had sprinkled a little bit on what was it called, on Holland. I don't know. I put him in. So I put Holland submission plus 650 in a round robin parlay. So Yeah. So I have Holland at plus 650 for his submission and some round robins, some small bets, nothing crazy. Um, and now I just put a unit on his money line. Anyway, so I like Holland in this fight. What's his face? Hernandez is way undersized for the weight class. He's 6 feet tall. Kevin Holland is 6'3". Hernandez has a 75-inch reach. Holland has an 81-inch reach. I guess skill set. Holland is just kind of. I mean, I think he's a more technical striker. He has weird movement, so I don't want to say he has better movement, but he has weird movement. It kind of throws people off. Um, he's long and lanky, so it makes it difficult for certain opponents to fight against him. He has the better jiu-jitsu, so if it goes down to the ground, he'll be able to scramble up or even possibly get a sub here. I'm not really sure why Holland is the why he's like a slight underdog. I'm not sure.
Because he's an idiot. Because he
Yeah,
does so many dumb shit. Like the Jericho. Like that fight was just really frustrating to watch. Like, what the hell is this guy doing? Or again, like Brendan Allen's fight. Like he goes and puts himself in stupid positions.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I know that he fights down to the level of his opponent, but knowing the skill set and his height and reach advantage,
His length and pure
yeah,
toughness. Yeah.
I like Holland here. I might even put more money on it now that I'm looking at it. So we have what I didn't like in Hernandez's last fight, which you had mentioned. So Hernandez got 6 takedowns against the guy Park, but I mean, taking down the Korean guy is not really impressive in my opinion. 6 times, and then, but aside from getting those 6 takedowns, his opponent Park landed 81 significant strikes on him. So, and that was in less than 10 minutes. So if you're eating that many strikes in less than 10 minutes, that's not really good. Do you remember that fight that Holland had against what's his face? That the English, no, not English, the Welsh striker?
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, he was handling his own, and he could have just taken him down at any time, but he just chose to strike with him to fight at his opponent's level, and he was handling his own. He was able to take some shots. He gave plenty of shots, and then eventually he did his thing, and got the sub in the 3rd round. But I mean, I like Kevin Holland here a lot actually, even though he does have brain farts in his fights. So. Give me Kevin Holland minus 105 or better for, I don't know, at least 2 units. I'm gonna put another one on right now.
Oh, live action, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, just last words for this one here. I think I don't know what I think the reason why like Kevin Holland fights the way he does is because I don't think he doesn't have much of a game plan going into any of his fights. He just kind of spams like a lot of things and has fun in there, and to his detriment sometimes. And Hernandez is a guy who pretty much just wants to bum rush the takedown and work guys over until they break him. And I don't think Kevin Holland's gonna break here. So yeah, I'm starting to feel pretty good about the Kevin Holland bet here. But I'm prepared to yell at my TV screen for putting himself in a guillotine or for fun or something. Yeah, I do believe he will get caught in a guillotine, or he's gonna get caught in one of these front headlock chokes in this fight, and it's gonna be like, what the fuck? Come on, Kevin, what are you doing? Why are you sticking your head in somewhere where it don't belong?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's gonna do that in this fight, and it's gonna piss you off, But yeah, I do think he'll pull it off. So, all right, we're both on that one then. Any other thoughts on that?
No, that's it.
No. All right. Well, moving on. So we have the prelims headliner with Matt Brown versus Miguel Baeza. To be honest, I don't know too much about Miguel Baeza. I looked a little bit of his video on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks like a pretty athletic guy. He has some nice kicks. Yeah, he looks like a pretty good striker. He looks a little green though, a little young. I don't know what his ground game looks like. And Matt Brown is approaching 40 years old now, and we know what Matt Brown is. He's he chews tobacco and he comes in there and he whoops ass, you know.
Yep.
I don't I don't know too much about this dude, but if this dude has any like ability to go to the body, then maybe he might be able to put Matt Brown away. But I don't think Matt Brown has fought a lot of good people, and this Barry guy hasn't fought anybody. So I mean, the Matt Brown is plus 155. The comeback on Baeza is negative 125. So man, just a couple old guys won last night, so maybe I think Brown could actually pull this off. Brown is, how do you know this guy's ground game? Do you know if he has a belt or anything like that?
I'm not sure if he's ranked at BJJ at all. I know that he trains at MMA Masters, but nowadays there's no one even trains at MMA Masters anymore. They used to be good with some guys from like PFL, and then Amanda Nunes used to be there. They used to have a good
Mutante, whatever was there.
They used to have a good a squad of women, but all those women left and they went to ATT.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no one really good there anymore. So
the reason why I mentioned his BJJ is just because like he seems like a guy who throws a lot of flashy like kicks and stuff, and like if Matt Brown can kind of like crowd him and get in his face, because Matt Brown is pretty damn scary in the clinch. Like if he can get in his face and just kind of like close the distance and beat the crap out of the guy, like just roughhousing him and being that technical brawler that he is, and not give him any space to throw kicks, and I think Matt Brown could come out and be another old dog, beats a younger dude. So 155, I like it. I'm not gonna put too much on it just because of the age and Matt Brown's penchant to get hit to the body. I'm sure this guy's trainers are probably gonna tell him to try to get to the body as well. So there's no secret there. So, but yeah, plus 155, it's a dogger pass for me, and actually might throw a little bit of money on Matt Brown. One thing I do know for sure is that like as old as Matt Brown is, he's not the type of guy that's gonna like come in for the paycheck. This guy actually genuinely loves to fight, and he's gonna fight for your money whether he gets knocked out or not, or gets put away or not. So I know I can trust him with my money, and not feel too bad about him like one day becoming like gun shy and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah. I like Matt Brown in this fight. While I don't know a lot about Baeza, I do think that from what I saw in his past two fights, you had already mentioned that he's good at kicking. So he's good at throwing low kicks. I think that if he doesn't connect with a clean kick to the body, like to the sternum area, to basically the breadbasket, the whole stomach area, if Matt Brown could avoid that, I think it's going to be a good fight for Matt Brown. And if Matt Brown doesn't give him, if he stays in the mid range to even like a close range, then he's not going to be able to he's not going to let what's his face Baeza, he's not going to let him be able to get his kicks off, right? Matt Brown he has good elbows up close. He has good punches up close, a little dirty boxing. He works the body. He has good knees. If he always does what is it called? He does those little trips. He'll grab your head and then he'll trip you and he'll like put you in a plum and like throw you off balance. He'll
he's
to
really
take you down.
Good with the clinch. Really good with the clinch.
And then once he gets on top of you, he'll usually get into side control or like at least half mount, and then he'll start pounding you out. It's pretty dangerous on top.
Yeah, he's a good ground and pound fighter. Yeah.
So I have right now I didn't bet his money line yet, but I have Matt Brown's inside the distance line at plus 351. I was going to touch his. I like so I actually have two bets on Brown because at first I was like, all right, Matt Brown by TKO or TKO KO, but then I was like
420 right now.
But then I was like, wait, he could if what's his face is not good on the ground. I don't see why Matt Brown, he could get a TKO, but he could also get a sub. So I bet Matt Brown's inside the distance line at plus 351, but I also bet his TKO line at was it plus 420. So if he could get both of them, I mean, if he could get a knockout, TKO or KO, I mean, it's gonna catch both of them. But I added a inside the distance just in case as a backup, as a hedge, just in case if he gets a sub. So basically, I'm on Matt Brown for about at 1.5 units right now.
Nice.
I'll probably add something to his money line at some point. I just haven't figured out if it's going to get better or if more people are going to bet it down. Um, so we'll see. But I do like Matt Brown to win this fight. He's more skilled in every area except for maybe like kicking, I guess.
Yeah, he's fought a ton of people. Like Miguel Beza's resume will never compare to what this guy's done. I mean, only time can tell, but yeah, it does not compare. So yeah, it's really difficult to say too, just because we don't know too much about this Baez cat.
Yeah.
He's only had 2 fights, so
And then Matt Brown.
getting Hector Aldana, come on now, like I'm pretty sure Matt Brown could probably put out Hector Aldana as well.
Yeah, that guy's not even good. I think I bet on him in one of his losses. He's like 0-3. He's not even in the UFC anymore.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Matt Brown being on a what's it called, 2-fight win streak. While I mean the wins were over Diego Sanchez and Ben Saunders. Those guys are not great anymore, but having those 2 wins under his belt, the last one coming in December of 2019, having those 2 wins under his belt are going to have him being confident going into this fight. So he's going to be dangerous, confident, and going up against a guy who's green and not as skilled as he is.
Yep. So yeah, we're both on Brown here. Well, we're agreeing on a lot of these picks here. Yeah, and I'm probably gonna end up playing his TKO line because it looks pretty juicy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, I'm not putting too much on it just because he is approaching 40. That's usually around the time where these guys are start falling off a cliff and stuff like that. So
if Matt Brown, if he starts like actually doing good in the fight at any point, it's going to cause a lot of damage to Beza. So basically, if you expect Matt Brown to do good in this fight, he's unlikely to win a decision, and he's going to start because when he does good, he puts a lot of damage on his opponents. So, I mean, that plus 400 you said you liked, right, at the TKO?
Yeah.
I think it's worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Matt Brown, he has 22 wins, 18 are 20 finishes and 2 decision wins.
Yeah, how good is exactly, like if they start clinching up, like, that's gonna be a good sign for Brown. He's pretty good there. So, all right, hopefully these old guys are starting to show some of these young cats, teach them a lesson a little bit here.
Yep.
Moving on to the main card, we have a featherweight bout between Yadong Song versus Marlon Chito Vera. Chito Vera is another guy who I put in the category of cockroach fighter. And what I mean by cockroach fighter is these guys, you hit them with your best shot, you step on them, you beat the crap out of them, and they just keep coming back. And Marlon Vera is a very slow starter. And he tends to lose the first round in a lot of fights. That's a fire truck. Hold on. Yeah, so he seems to lose a lot of rounds early, and then he just comes back and decides to just tee off on his opponent. And that's how a lot of the fights go. And man, like he's a good fighter, but like if you look at the list of guys he's been finishing, I know he's on like a really nice little finishing streak. A lot of those guys I don't think are very like good fighters. And when he got a step up in competition, he fought Douglas Silva. He lost to him, and he just kind of got beat up and didn't mount a comeback. And so let me just kind of name some of the guys he's finished. Wuliji Buren, like I don't think he's a UFC level fighter. Guido Kennedy, come on now, he's old and not UFC fighter, not UFC level. Frankie Saenz, like another guy who's 40 years old now, who's on the tail end of his career, 39 years old. Nolan Hernandez, the guy hasn't won a UFC fight before. He's not that great. and Andre Ewell, another guy who isn't that good, and so I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of Marlon Vera, and there's a reason why, he's the underdog here. So, but with that said, he does fight for your money, though.
Yeah.
Yadong Song is a favorite here. He's negative 185 to come back on Marlon Vera is plus 160. It's kind of tough to see that number next to Marlon Vera. You kind of want to bet it just because of how many times this guy's been cashing out for everybody lately, and but Yadong Song, I think he is, how old is he? This
He's
guy
20,
is
22.
22 years old. Yeah, he should have lost his last fight, to be honest. By the way,
Yeah,
he
I
should
think so
have
too.
lost that last fight, yeah. But he's 22 years old and he's this good now. Like, holy crap! And he starts out pretty strong as well. So I'm just gonna shorten this up. I think Yadong Song is probably gonna win a decision here. It's Marlon Vera is really tough to finish. Vera is more of a kicker. I know he's got some pretty nice body shots as well when he wants to get in the pocket. But Yadong, I like what I see out of him. He's super strong, super athletic, super like powerful puncher. He's got a mean overhand right. He's got some good timing on everything. He's super athletic. He throws a lot of spinning stuff. I like Yadong Song here. I think he's gonna take the first round. I think Vero's gonna try to come back and then realize that he can't be starting off slow like this again. And Yadong wins a pretty I think he'll win a decision here.
Yeah. All right. So I think he's going to win a decision also. That's why I bet 1 unit at Yadong Song's decision line at, let's see, what was it? Or what is it? Do I have here? Plus 175. So I have 1 unit on Song plus 175 for his decision. So let me read off the stats real fast. we have Song. He is 5'8". Marlon Vera is 5'8". Song is he has 67 inch for his reach, and we have Marlon Vera with a 70-inch reach. Let's see here. We have Song, who lands 3.54 strikes per minute. Marlon Vera, who lands 3.43 strikes per minute, so they're both pretty close. Strikes absorbed per minute, 2.74 for Song and 3.82 for Marlon Vera, which is going to lead me to my my next point here is that Marlon Vera only does good against guys who stand in front of him or who have various issues. So we have Andre Ewell. He's a skinny, tall guy who has 0 takedown skills and he has no jiu-jitsu at all. He's just a skinny, tall, long fighter. But if you close the distance, he can't do anything against you at all. Nolan Hernandez, that was just a terrible matchup for him. He's not even UFC level. That was just a bad matchup for him against Marlon Vera. So I'm not going to even go into that one. Frankie Saenz, he was already chinny by the time he fought Vera. He was actually chinny a few years before that. Let's see here. Back when, what year was that when he? I forgot what year he fought Uriah Faber. But anyway, so he fought against Frankie Saenz, who was already old at that time, and he won by TKO, which I had bet on. And then he beat Vera, who is short for the weight class, and he's also chinny, and he's also he gasses out. So it's not a big surprise that he won by submission there. And then Willie G. Burns not even in the UFC anymore, and he's a terrible guy from China. Anyway, so as I was going to say, Marlon Vera is not good against guys who have good foot movement and who kind of just move around and don't stay in one spot. All those guys I mentioned, aside from like Frankie Saenz, he moves a little bit, but he's old and he's chinny. Guido, he moves a lot, but that's only in the first round. Aside from that, Andre Ewell, Hernandez, and Burn, they're all going to stand right in front of you and give you the fight you want. Marlon Vera has been opening up more in his past couple of fights of being more aggressive, but then those two guys he was aggressive against, Hernandez and Ewell, they're both trash. So it's not really saying much, I guess. We got Song, he has way better foot movement. He's faster, high twitch muscles. and his hands and his feet, they're kind of high twitch. He has more power. He has way better wrestling. He's stronger.
Good all arounder. This guy's a good all arounder. He's got a lot of good attributes.
Yeah, the only clear area that Vera is better in is the jujitsu.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that more times than not, I think that Song's gonna win a decision here. I do fear that he might get like a TKO at some point, but I think he'll usually win a decision in this spot. He'll play it safe. I just gotta hope that Vera's chin holds up and that he has enough, uses his movement enough to kind of just like stay out of the fire. But I think that a Song's gonna win a decision here, so I like it at plus 175. What is his money line out right now? Songs.
Negative 185.
All right, so I'm not gonna bet the money line. I might put another bet on Song's decision, like not right now, but like if it stays around the same or if it gets a little bit better by tomorrow or even by fight time, then I'll definitely put another bet, but we'll see. But right now I'm satisfied with 1 unit on plus 175 Song Yudong by decision.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Song Yadong, he did disappoint in his last fight though. He got out wrestled, so that's another hole in his game that he needs to close up. I know he's working. I mean, he should be working at Team Alpha Male, but probably not for this camp. Who knows? But yeah, over the years, he's only 22 years old. Like he's gonna have a ton of time to work on that aspect, and I expect him to close that gap real soon. As years progress, because yeah, this guy's showing a lot at the age of 22. He's gonna be like another. He's gonna be the male representation of Wei Li Zhang. Just a great all-around fighter that's dangerous anywhere and everywhere, and it's just a brute of a fighter.
Yeah, I mean, going into that fight against Stamen, I thought Song was gonna have, because he's a bigger, excuse me, he's a taller guy and he was stronger and he hits harder, but I didn't take into account that Stamen, he's the quicker fighter and he's more kind of like more slick. I don't know how to say it exactly, but he's more slick with his wrestling. So he was
Yeah.
able to avoid the big shots of Song and just kind of move out and counter and just do more stuff. And so yeah, I had bet Song in that fight, so I was glad to get that bet voided when it went to a draw.
Yeah, lucky there,
Um,
huh?
but we got here Marlon Vera. Song's facing a taller fighter who's compared to his last opponent, but this taller fighter is going to be slower and just he's going to be there to be hit. And Song's going to be the faster fighter with the better hands. So it's kind of it's like a good matchup for him.
Yeah, and value-wise, I wouldn't even like. I mean, like Vera by decision at plus 515 is not even a bad play either. Just if you're on the Vera, if you're on the other side with Vera, like it's not a bad play. But yeah, I expect Song to win a decision here. Yep, we're all in agreement here. Okay, moving on. The next fight on the card is. Can you tell me who that is? It is Eric Anders, right?
Yep, your
And
boy.
Jotko and Christoph Jotko. Ya boy!
Yeah.
Eric Anders versus Christoph Jotko. I went with the over here, just because I think it's going to be a split decision either way.
Yeah.
Christoph Jotko is a split decision fighter, and Eric Anders is also a split decision type fighter. They both get into a ton of split decisions. Eric Anders, he's really only got one thing, which is his left hand, and he doesn't throw much. He doesn't throw anything else but that left hand, and he's pretty one-dimensional in that aspect. But he's a guy who holds a couple of like physical attributes. He's a former football player. He's a super duper tough. Like he's a tough motherfucker to move back, and he's got a solid chin. He's super duper strong. Like, he's not easy to out grapple just because he's like I said, he's super duper strong, and I think he's going to be moving forward in this fight and trying to land that left hand of his. And there's one thing to note as well. They're both southpaws here.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's going to be trying to land that left hand, and he's going to be chasing down Christoph while Christoph tries to, hit and run and touch and go. And I think at some points in this fight, Anders is going to track his opponent down and land some really hard shots and possibly put him away, or at least hit him to where like it hurts him and end up taking a round that way. Or Jotko is just going to do the thing and throw some volume, clinch up when he needs to clinch up, and be a little more active in that. And so I think it's going to be a split decision, and that's why I went with the over at negative 160. I think it's sitting at like 190 right now. So, I got the line movement right. So, 185 is where it's sitting at. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah, I actually think that Jocko's going to win a decision here most of the time. We have Eric Anders. He is 6'1". Jocko is 6'1". Anders has 75-inch reach. Jocko has a 77-inch reach, so 2-inch reach advantage. As you said, they're both southpaws. Eric Anders lands 3.06 strikes per minute, and Jocko lands 2.84 strikes per minute. So it's not a big difference there. Where there is a big difference is where it comes to strikes absorbed per minute. So Eric Anders absorbs 4.15 strikes per minute. Jocko absorbs 1.81. So the reason why he absorbs only 1.81 strikes per minute is that he has good distance management. He knows when he kind of reminds me of a Rory McDonald, where he kind of like he knows when to like get in there and get out. Kind of like when you that one Rory versus Tyron Woodley fight, just kind of like he knew when to just poke his jab and kind of rack up the points, but kind of stay away from damage. Jocko's definitely what's it called? He's definitely someone who doesn't want to trade. So he's, especially nowadays with his chin kind of getting weaker, he's more risk adverse these days. So he's just playing the point game as much as possible.
Yeah, he got 14 decisions out of his 22-21 wins.
Yeah. And also we have Anders, who is not technical at all with his striking, and he moves like he's like a professional football player, which is funny because that's yeah. So he's not technical at all with his hands, and his kicks are not really anything special. I don't expect him to land anything dangerous with his kicks, but his hands are his go-to, and he'll throw big shots, but they're not technical, and they're all like loopy, and you could see them coming. He tries to get people around that kind of like the black line inside of the octagon where you get close to the cage. He'll try to put you around that line and then try to make you back up a little bit. And then he'll throw like a big overhand or a big combo to try to land something and then press you up against the cage and try to do some big shots from there. But Jocko's going to keep moving around. He's going to keep poking. He's going to win a decision here. I don't really like Jocko's money line, and I don't. Let me see what is his decision line.
The last only plus 130. It's not that bad. It's not really that great.
130. Yeah, that's what I think it was around the same price earlier when I looked. So yeah, I think that Jocko's gonna win here. No, I think Jocko will win here. Maybe if I get bored, I'll probably look later to see if I can find a way to bet Jocko. But yeah, I see Jocko winning, but I just don't really like his money line or his decision line. Yeah, and I don't think plus minus 3.5. That's not even worth it either, because that could easily lose. So, yeah, my pick is Jocko, but no bet at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, and if what's his face could win a decision off of Anders, why not Jocko? Elias Theodoro with that ballerina shit. If that shit could win him a decision, then I don't see a reason why Jotko couldn't do it. But like I said, Jotko, he seems to he doesn't like to get hit. So yeah. But low-level middleweight fight. So I don't want to disrespect him and say low-level, but like I don't think either guy is that good. Like
it's just not high level.
Anders is very, very limited in his skill set. He just throws one thing, which is his left hand. And Jotko, his technique, I don't know. Like I don't even know. I wouldn't even call him a boxer. He's like, I don't know what he is. I can't put my finger on it, like on what kind of style he is.
Mm-hmm. Just a point fighter.
Like an awkward point fighter guy, So I don't know. Like his punches just it doesn't look like a boxer would throw it, or the way he kicks doesn't look like a kickboxing style. So I don't know. I don't know what he is.
Yeah.
He's just like a MMA like native type guy. So all right. Yeah, I went with over that one. Next fight we have Dan Ige versus Edson Barboza. Barboza is making his featherweight debut, and I'm really confused on how this guy could make featherweight. Like this dude is already yoked the fuck out at 155. How the fuck is he going? This is weird. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what he's gonna look like at 145. I guess that's really dependent on how his cut goes for me to really decide on who's gonna win this one. But let's just assume that his cut does go well and he's healthy and good. Like, dude, like that's kind of scary. This guy, I think Barboza. How tall is Barboza?
I think he's
Barboza is like
5'11", right?
5'11", and then this guy's 5'7". Dan Ige is 5'7", so it's a 4-inch height advantage there. Like Barboza's got some great knees. Like that's like what if I think I could see Dan Ige running into a knee here or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we know what Barboza is. He's a really good kickboxer. He's got some dynamic abilities to throw all types of spinning shit and things like that. However, there's a clear way to beat him, which is to pressure him, and that's what Dan Ige is good at. Dan Ige is very, very good at pressuring guys, getting in people's faces, and Dan Ige, he's looking pretty damn good as of late, and he's surging. He's definitely surging, and he looked good against Mirsad. Like he's out wrestling him. He was out timing him. He found a lot of. He was landing a lot as well. So. But yeah, it's really hard to tell, man. Like I don't know if Dan Ige is gonna pressure him and get in his face and get him to the ground and just kind of beat him up there, like how, that's how you're supposed to be Barboza. But the weight cut down, like I don't know what that's gonna look like, and the size difference, I don't know what that's gonna look like. So it's hard for me to bet like on this one and have a clear winner. But I guess I'm gonna wait to see how they look, how Edson Barboza's health looks like, and then I might do some action plays on this one. But if I were to go to pick, I'm gonna pick Barboza. But Dan Ige, man, that guy fights for your money, man. Really tough to bet against him, but yeah.
Yeah, for me, well, before we even get into this match, I just want to say that you need to put some respect on Dan Ige's name. It's Dan 50K Ige.
Okay, that's what I thought. It was Dan Dynamite. Okay. Anyways, yeah, the dude he's a beast. I like him.
Yeah. So Dan Ige is riding a 5-fight win streak. He's been progressing as far as like the level of opponent he's fighting. So he fought Mike Santiago. Hold on, let me back up before then. So he started on Dana White's Contender Series. He beat Luis Gomez, who knows who that is. And then he lost to Julio Arce once he got into the UFC. And then he beat Mike Santiago, Jordan Griffin, Danny Henry, Kevin Aguilar, who was good at the time. That's not the washed up Kevin Aguilar who you see now. And then he beat Mursad Bektik. Then we have, hold on, let me switch pages here. Then we have Edson Barboza, who is, I mean, I don't need to go into all of his accomplishments, but over his last 5 fights, we have, he lost to Khabib.
He should have won that other fight. That's what I thought. Anyways, go ahead.
Actually, let me say a few of his wins because I don't want to say his losses. So, so he beat Pettis and Gilbert Melendez in 2016. That was a while ago. And then he was losing to Beneil in the first round and a half, and then he landed the flying knee in the towards the end of the second round. So then he won. So he was on a 3-fight win streak. Then he lost to Khabib. Then he lost to Kevin Lee. He beat Dan Hooker, which I'll get back to in a minute, and then he lost to Justin Gaethje, and then he lost to Paul Felder. So he's 1-4 in his last 5.
He got some really named opponents there. So.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Those are some players in the game: Gaethje, Hooker, Lee, Khabib, Dariush. Like those are some big names.
Yeah, of course.
So,
we have Dan Ige. He is 5'7". So some of these stats you already said. So he's 5'7", and then Barboza's 5'11". We have Ige with the 71-inch reach and 75 inches for Barboza. So he's
Mm.
4 inches taller and has a 4-inch reach
And there's a ton
advantage.
of space to be covering against a guy like this. Shit.
Both are orthodox. Um, we have Dan Ige with 3.89 strikes landed per minute and Barboza 4.01. So they're pretty close to the strikes landed per minute. Strikes absorbed per minute is 2.69 for Ige and 4.16 for Barboza. So it's a big difference there. And then I'm not going to go into the takedown aspect just yet, just because it's one guy takes people down, and the other one's just a pure striker. So I'm not going to try to compare that. Let's go back to Barboza for a second. So the reason why I have 3 units on Dan Ige at plus 110, yes, I did say 3 units. I have 3 units on Dan Ige plus 110, and then I also have some of his submission line and inside the distance line sprinkled in some other areas. So the reason why I'm taking Dan Ige here is because Edson Barboza, he doesn't do good against guys who have good movement. Similar to one of the previous fighters we just finished going over, Barboza has a problem with guys who are mobile. If you stand right in front of him, he'll fuck you up. If you have good foot movement or you just kind of move in general and he has to like chase after you, that type of deal, then he's not going to do well. Why? It's because he's mostly a kicker who is slowly improving with his hands. So his hands are all right. He does throw power, but he's kind of just like brawls kind of with his hands, whereas his kicks are obviously deadly. But if you keep moving, he's not going to be able to set up his kicks because he's going to have to keep trying to adjust and reset. So, and then if you have wrestling and you mix it in with your foot movement and your boxing, then you're going to cause him a lot of trouble. So just like I said, we have, let's go back to those wins and losses. I said he beat Anthony Pettis by decision 4 years ago. Okay, so Anthony Pettis doesn't wrestle and he doesn't throw as much offense from what I can remember. And so he's not. So basically, Edson Barboza didn't have to worry about a takedown. He didn't have to worry about being outpointed. He didn't have to worry about getting subbed because Pettis he wants to get that takedown or end up on the ground before he subs you. So he basically, if Pettis didn't land something big, he was going to get outpointed, which is what happened. Gilbert Melendez, he hasn't been decent in years. He entered the UFC as a washed-up fighter, and then the next win after that was a comeback win after losing a round and a half to Benil Dariush, which is, that happens. He's kind of chinny at times. And then Barboza fought like the best wrestler in MMA, which is, everyone loses to him. So it's not, losing to Khabib's not a big deal. But then he lost to Kevin Lee, who ended up getting a TKO in the 5th round. So Kevin Lee has better boxing than Barboza, and he has better movement and distance management, and he also has the wrestling and jiu-jitsu advantage. Dan Hooker was his win, Barboza's win. Why did he beat Dan Hooker in the 3rd round via TKO? Is because Dan Hooker, he's tall and he's lanky, but he stands right in front of you, and he uses his technique to try to avoid punches and counter strike, and he'll usually finish all of his wins, but he takes a lot of damage. He stands right in front of you, and he took so much damage from Barboza, like because he just stood there, and eventually he couldn't handle it. And then people were like, oh my God, Edson Barboza's back after beating Dan Hooker, and then he got his ass beat by Justin Gaethje in the middle of the 1st round. And then the Paul Felder fight. It was a close fight. I picked Felder, I believe, in that fight. That went to a split decision. So I'm not gonna really go into that one too much. But anyway, if you use movement and you're well-rounded, then you're gonna cause Barboza a lot of trouble because he's not gonna be able to do what he's best at, which is use his kicks and his knees if he has to chase you, or if he's not able to keep just staying still. If he has to keep resetting, he's going to be in trouble. So I think that is what we're going to see here from Dan Ige. So Dan Ige has been training usually he trains at AKA with Khabib, but Khabib has obviously been gone. He's been in Russia for a while. Dan also trains at Extreme Couture. So he's been there for a few months at Extreme Couture. What I like about Ige is that while he does train at AKA with Khabib usually, he still, even when he trains with Khabib, he still travels all around the country and sometimes the world to train with the best fighters. He doesn't stay at just one gym because it's the top gym. He actually flies to different places and trains with with top guys. So I like that about him, and I like that he's got a big jiu-jitsu advantage here if he gets to the ground. He also has decent wrestling. He has good cardio. Good cardio. His hands are all right. He's not really much of a kicker, but his hands are all right, and he's able to mix it up. What is the factor here is that one of the key factors, I should say, not the factor, but one of the key factors is Edson Barboza is finally dropping down to 145. He's a lifelong 155er, and now he knows that he needs to get a win or he's done. So he's trying to do what a lot of older fighters or kind of fighters who are at the end of their long careers is what they do. They try moving down in weight. Sometimes they go up in weight, but he's moving down in weight, which is not going to be good because it's going to affect him somehow. Even if I think he'll look good in that first round. He'll come out hot, but if he can't do anything, if he can't get a quick finish, I see that Ige is going to win a decision and possibly a late finish, depending on how tired Barboza is from that weight cut. In general, being able to Dan Ige is going to be able to get him against the cage at some point. So that's how they're basically close in striking output, the significant strikes landed per minute. That's only if Barboza is going to be able to stay in the middle of the cage. But since he's going to end up being against the cage at some points or even possibly getting taken down, that 4.0 strikes landed per minute, it's going to go down drastically against Ige. So he's not going to be able to get his shots off when he's getting pushed against the cage and when he's getting taken down. So yeah, I like Dan Ige a lot here, and I think this is probably going to be Barboza's last fight in the UFC, maybe as a pro. He's been fighting since April 2009, so he's been fighting for 11 years. And how old is he now? He is
24.
He's not that old, but I mean, he's been in the UFC for a long time, and if he loses here, he's going to be 1-5 in his last 6.
Well, I think the UFC likes him. You know, kind of like how Jeremy Stevens is still around. Like, even though he loses a lot, like the UFC likes him because he's got all these crazy highlights. So I don't know if he's gonna go into this fight like feeling afraid for his career. I mean, for his position.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's thinking about it. But with that said, yeah, I'm not as confident as you are in picking a winner in this fight in general. But just to play devil's advocate, like again, like who the hell knows what Barboza is gonna look like? I don't know what he's gonna look like moving down in the weight class, especially looking how big he was at 155, like how muscular he was. So I don't know. That's why I'm gonna skip this. I'm probably gonna watch this as a fan, but good luck on your bet. I don't know how this one's gonna go.
All right.
I mean, I know who each guy is, but yeah, I don't know what the weight shift down is gonna look like. So Dan Ige is a really good fighter, and he definitely has a style that will cluster and make Barboza get pressured. So he definitely has a style for it. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. All right, moving on. That was a long one. Co-main event. We got females. Claudia Gadelha versus Angela Hill. Claudia Gadelha is -200 and Angela Hill is +170. I'm just gonna make this one short. I'm gonna pick Claudia Gadelha here, money line. I'm not saying I'm super confident in it, but I do think like I said, the better ground fighter is gonna win here. I think she's going to Hulk Angela Hill and get her to the ground and do her thing. Get her down to the ground, possibly renegade choker or even just kind of maybe even laying her to a decision. However, like Claudia we've seen her in the past. Like she doesn't have the best striking defense. She does get tired, and if she does get tired here, I expect Angela Hill to pick up to win the third round, or even possibly get a late round. Nah, she's not gonna get a late round finisher. I take that back. But yeah, it depends on how tired Claudia Gadelha gets. She's been out for a while as well. But yeah, Claudia Gadelha is gonna win. It's pretty simple for me. It's just she has a better ground game. I know Angela Hills has been looking pretty good recently. She's gotten some wins here and there. She's been pretty active as well, so she's probably like moving as best as she. I mean, she's probably like a well-oiled machine by her standards, at the moment. But yeah, if I were to take Angela Hill, I'd probably yeah, I'm not gonna take Angela. Yeah, Claudia Gadelha for me. Yeah, so
Yeah. So
she could steal a decision. Let's just say that maybe she steal like a third. She has like a spirited third run, or whatever. So
yeah. I mean, so okay.
I'm
Angela
not
Hill.
super confident.
All right. Well, Angela Hill does have. I mean, obviously she has a striking advantage if she like that the pure boxing advantage if it could stay there like the entire time. So there's that.
Definitely the skill, yeah.
There's that. So like aside from that, she does have she's on a 3-fight win streak, and she does come into this fight being more just fighting more recently. So she does have that under her belt. So she beat Ariane Carnelossi, who is trash. I don't think she's in the UFC anymore. I think she was a late replacement, or she's making her debut or something like that in that fight. But yeah, I don't know if she's even in the UFC anymore. Anyway, and then so she beat her by TKO in the third round. Then she beat Hannah Cifers by TKO in the second round. Hannah Cifers is short. She's just a brawler. And she takes a lot of shots to the face. So I think that was a fight where Angela Hill like tripped her, or she got her down somehow and just started like punching her on the ground. So there's that. And then after that, she had a close fight against Loma Lukbunmi, who is just a pure striker, and she's not really anything special. But that was a close fight, went to decision.
There it is. That's the key word. She's been fighting a bunch of strikers. She hasn't fought anybody who's going to take her down.
Yeah.
The last person she fought that took her down was Randa Marcos, and she got armbarred.
Yeah. So while Hill is on a 3-fight win streak, you have to look at the competition she's facing. She beat 3 strikers, just like you said, and now she's facing a fighter who has much improved striking compared to how she was a year ago. Claudia improved her striking. She's been at, I forgot the name of the gym, but Mark Henry's gym for the past year or so.
Okay. And so guys kind of focus on output. So yeah.
Yeah.
If she can come out here and get some better output without getting tired, then yeah.
Yeah. So you have I don't know who she's training with exactly at that gym, but I mean the gym has like top fighters like Frankie Edgar and Marlon Rice. They used to have Edson, but he moved to ATT in Florida. But they have some other good fighters too. And then they also cross train. There's like 2 or 3 top gyms in that area that are in New York and New Jersey. So you have like the blonde fighter, that girl at 135. So like there's a bunch of like good fighters in that area that they all cross train together. Anyway, so just like you mentioned earlier, the last time Angela Hill fought a girl who was able to take her down, it was Randa Marcos. So let's look at Angela Hill's last, 10 fights, I guess. We have
that's a lot of fights to be going over, man.
Well, all right, let's look at, okay, so we got Jessica Andrade. All right, small, was able to get the takedown at one point, but it mostly ended up on the feet, but Jessica Andrade landed a ton on her. That fight, Angela Hill landed some good shots, and people are like, oh, Angela Hill improved. Okay, so she lost that fight. Anyway, so the next fight, she beat Ashley Yoder, who's a can. She's just a tall I don't even know what her skill set is, but she does a little bit of jiu-jitsu and a little bit of brawling with her hands, but she's just tall and not good. So she beat her. Then she lost to Nina Ansaroff, who is she's just a pure striker. At that time, she was just a pure striker. Now Nina has decent takedown defense, and she's her striking's improved. So she lost to Nina. Then she beat Marina Moroz, who was still trash at that time. Since then Moroz is I think she's on a couple fight win streak or something like that, 2 fight win streak. I don't know, but she's just a pure striker with a decent armbar, but she has zero wrestling. Courtney Casey beat her by split decision. Courtney Casey, she's not a wrestler, but she has a lot of output with her straight punches, as I mentioned earlier, which is part of the reason why I'm taking Courtney Casey over that chick she's fighting. If Courtney Casey is able to beat Angela Hill in a fight, then she should be able to beat that other chick she's fighting on Saturday. So she lost to Courtney Casey. Then she lost to Miranda Marcos in the first round by armbar. She ended up on the ground once. It was over. Then she fought Jodie Escobar, who is not good at anything. She's good at being what's her face's girlfriend, the Dean of Mean. So she beat Jodie Escobar. Then she lost to Yan Jonan by decision. Yan Jonan is just a pure striker. Then she lost to her, and then she went on the 3-fight winning streak against pure strikers. So she's going to be facing her second grappler and wrestler in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So in her last 12 fights, she would have fought 2 grapplers. She lost the first one, and this will be the second one she loses to. I have Claudia Gadelha. I have her 1.5 units via submission at plus 450. So I'll say it again. I have 1.5 units on Claudia Gadelha by submission at plus 450, and I have that same submission prop sprinkled into some round robins that I have going on with Brown inside the distance, Casey inside via submission, Holland by submission, and Claudia Gadelha submission. So those are all kind of round robin together. So I think that Gadelha is going to win here. I think she's going to get that takedown she needs. And while she has gas in the past, her striking is good enough to close the distance and get a safe takedown. And once she gets it down on the ground, we're not going to even have to worry about her gassing. She's gonna make that plus 450 submission look like a gift, and I feel good about it.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that either gonna be decision or submission here. So, all right, main event. We have Alistair Overeem versus Walt Harris. Walt Harris is the favorite. He is negative 145. Comeback on Overeem is plus 125 here. 125. Yeah, 125. So, man, I don't know what to make of Walt Harris's mindset coming into this because of the thing. I mean, with his daughter, which I mean, rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
That's I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's coming back the fight after that. Like it seems, I don't know how to quantify that, but we're just gonna break down the skill sets here. Like Overeem is another guy who is winning until he loses. So he could look real good, and if you find that opening on his chin, he can get put out. And like how many times he's been knocked out,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like Overeem did avoid getting knocked out in 5 rounds, damn near 5 rounds against Rosenstruck. So I mean, man, like I see the plus next to Overeem's name. I kind of want to take it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes out and just gets his chin checked again, and Walt Harris puts him out. But other than that, like as far as toolbox goes, Overeem has him beat here, and Overeem has a better ground game. He's got better. He's pretty much almost better everywhere except the chin department, and that's pretty much it. Walt, he is a southpaw. He kind of just throws 3 things. He throws that right hook. He throws a straight. I mean, the straight left is his money shot. He throws the right hook, and he throws the head kick, the left head kick, and that's pretty much all he throws. He throws like maybe 3 or 4 punches, and he just tries to time it. He doesn't have any offensive wrestling. His takedown defense is not that great. It's okay, and he doesn't seem to throw that much either. I don't know, man. I don't like Walt Harris as a favorite here. I think there's some value on Overeem, but expect Overeem to look good, and eventually, who the hell knows if Walt Harris lands that punch and puts him out, just like what always happens with Overeem. It's a 5-round fight. If Overeem can't put him away, like he's gonna have to like try avoid getting knocked out in 5 rounds. And he in the last second he got knocked out. So, if I were to bet on it though, I would take Overeem here at plus odds. One thing I want to give him credit for is that Sergey Pavlovich, that guy's a beast, and he was able to body lock, clinch him, take him to the ground, and finish him there. So Overeem, he's got some good ground and pound, and I could see Overeem getting some ground and pound off here and finishing the fight if he gets Walt Curtis to the ground. But yeah, my pick is Overeem here, and unless he goes and puts his chin on a silver platter and get knocked out again.
Yeah, I'm siding with Overeem here as well. I'm not super confident at all. The paths are there,
how can you feel confident betting on Overeem? Nobody can feel confident in betting Overeem until that fucking bell rings, because he only had 1 more second left and he goes and gets knocked out. Like, how can you?
Yeah, I mean, for the past 10 plus years, I've had I don't know, because Overeem's one of my favorite fighters of all time, and I have like so much anxiety and I have so much stress when I see him fight, even if I don't bet, because it's like, is he going to get knocked out or is he going to win? And it doesn't, I mean, I've had bets on him, and sometimes I fade him, or so I bet against him or I bet on him. It's just I always worry about him. But he's holding on. He's holding it together as far as he's speaking clear, and he's not. He's still advancing. His MMA game is still improving and stuff like that. He's still using strategies, kind of like how you talked about Arlovsky. Arlovsky is still showing improvements in his game. Same thing with Overeem. Overeem. Let's see here. Let's look at the stats right here. We have Overeem at 6 feet 4 inches, so he's 6'4". Walt Harris is 6'5". Overeem has 80-inch reach, and Walt Harris has 77-inch reach. So while Overeem is 1 inch shorter, he has 3 inches of reach as an advantage. Overeem is orthodox. Walt Harris is a southpaw.
Well, Overeem switches. He switches a lot. He can go both ways, it seems.
Just for the kick usually, though, right? He'll switch to throw his kick and then go back, right?
I don't know. This guy is super duper experienced. I think he could fight in both positions for long periods of time. He kind of understands what offense and what. But yeah, go for it. Go on.
Okay. So there's the stats. Let's see here. Overeem lands 3.54 strikes per minute. We have Walt Harris lands 2.96. So not that big of a difference. Absorbed per minute, 2.15 for Overeem, 2.68 for Harris. So not too much of a difference there. As far as who Overeem's training with, Overeem, as I mentioned earlier, that he has been with. Overall, he's been with team. I'm having a brain fart here, but it's the same team that Team Elevation. Team Elevation. So he's been training with Team Elevation, which is the same team that Gaethje and Dober train at. They obviously don't train with Overeem, but they're at the same gym. The guys who Overeem has been training with at that camp are. Let me say them from top left to the bottom right. We have Cody Donovan is the kind of like the coach. Cody Donovan used to be a super mediocre fighter in the UFC a long time ago. And then he's been training also with Curtis Blades, McSweeney also. He's been training with James McSweeney. He's been training with Josh Cuddly Bear, the guy who's in the PFL. Also, he's been training with Neil Magny. And then he has this. Well, you probably don't know who this other guy is. So he's been training with 1, 2, 3 active good guys, and Curtis Blades, Josh Josh Cuddly Bear, and then also Neil Magny at Team Elevation. So I think that. Oh yeah. Also, before I get into the rest of my spiel, there was a comment. There was a comment on. I'm not sure if it was Cody Donovan's Instagram or if it was McSweeney's Instagram. How that the guy was like, "Yeah, I'm over here training takedowns and ground and pound with Overeem," and they took a picture. So that's kind of what I had expected Overeem to do anyway. So I think we're gonna see Overeem stay on the outside, kind of do his thing where he tries to protect his face and find the right spot to kind of just get in there, and then he'll throw the kick here and there. But his overall goal is to probably throw that knee to close the distance, or throw something to close the distance, and then get what's his face against the cage, and then go for it, some type of takedown, whether it's like a double leg against the cage, or if it's like a trip, something. He'll try to get him to get on the ground and try to ground and pound him. Overeem, while he doesn't go to the ground that much, he is deadly from the top, as we've seen. And also, Walt Harris is terrible off his back. He has no jiu-jitsu skills. He probably has improved wrestling skills, but I mean, overall, he relies on his quickness with his feet and his strength to avoid takedowns, but he's not really good at stopping takedowns, and like I said, he has nothing off his back, so I won't be surprised to see Overeem win this fight. If it goes long, I mean, we have no idea if Walt Harris is even good at going 5 rounds, right? So when was the last time he went 3 rounds? The last time he went 3 rounds was a year and a half ago against Andrei Arlovsky. It was a split decision win for Walt Harris, who wasn't even able to finish Arlovsky in 15 minutes. Before that, it was what? Before that, it was 3.5 years ago against Shamil Abdurakhimov. He lost a split decision there. So
yeah, because he wasn't active. Like Shamil just kept through volume at him, and that's how he won.
yeah. So his last two decisions, they're far apart, but they're both split decisions. He won one and he lost one. I don't like Overeem's money line at plus 125, and I think if I was going to bet Overeem here, it would be at plus 225 for his TKO KO line. But at the moment, I'm not really interested in betting this fight. I'll probably bet it as we get closer to the fight once I see the line shift a little bit. But there's plenty of other spots on this card that I have bet already and that I'm going to bet more on as we get closer. So I might skip it, but I probably won't. I'll probably just wait for fight day to bet on Overeem or something like that.
Okay, yeah. I'm probably not gonna bet it yet either, but I'll probably throw some change on Overeem as well when the fight does come up.
Yeah.
So yeah. So just looking at this card overall, like let me just kind of go through my bets that I'm gonna go with.
Mm-hmm.
I like Claudia Gadelha money line. I will probably throw a little bit on her submission line. Eric Anders and Joko, I took the over at plus 160. Yadong Song, I took his decision line.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I'm gonna throw some money. I haven't done it yet, but I'll throw some money on Matt Brown's TKO line at plus 420. I'm gonna play Kevin Holland's money line. I'm going to play Darren Elkins by decision. And then Courtney Casey by no scorecard, no action. And then I'm going to play the Brazilian dude, Rodrigo Nascimento, no scorecards, no action line as well. So
Okay.
those are just a quick recap of some of my picks. I'm sure I'll probably play a little bit more of the board, other props here and there, and maybe throw a couple money lines, but those are my initial thoughts at the moment. We'll see. I have another day to kind of digest more of these lines to make all my final picks. But yeah, those are mine. What about you?
Mine are kind of like all over the place because they're not in a document yet. But right now I have, starting from the bottom, I have Dan Ige, 3 units for 3 units on Dan Ige at plus 110, and then I have 1 unit on Song Yadong by decision at plus 175. I have 1 unit on Courtney Casey submission at plus 950. I have 1.5 units on Claudia Gadelha by submission at plus 450. I have half a unit on Ige submission plus 650. I have Matt Brown wins by TKO KO plus 385, as well as Matt Brown inside the distance for half a unit at plus 351. Let's see here. Let's go back up here. All right, and then I have Kevin Holland money line at minus 105 for 2 units, and then I added Matt Brown money line plus 155. I put 1.5, 1.5 units on that, and then I do have some smaller round robins, but I'm not going to go into those because those are kind of long shots. But yeah, so those are my straight up plays that I have so far, not counting my parlays.
Yeah. Overall thoughts on the entire card as a betting goes?
Yeah.
I mean, what are your overall thoughts as far as betting this card goes?
Oh, overall thoughts? I mean, if you saw, yeah, I mean, there's some good spots on here that I like. Or there's some spots that I feel confident in, but nothing compared to my last, compared to a Wednesday's card. Oh my God, I was so confident in that one. That's why it went so well.
I like that there's a lot of negative 100s, and there's not too many juiced out lines, so I like that part.
Yeah. So I mean,
there's nobody over 200. If you look.
I feel okay about this card. Definitely not as confident as the Wednesday card, but I mean, I feel okay on it.
Yeah. The biggest favorite on this card is Claudia Gadelha at negative 200. That's pretty cool. Like you don't see that very often. Like usually you'll see somebody that's juiced out for whatever reason, you know. So
yeah,
lots of plus odds. So and some good value if you find it. Yeah. All right. We'll catch you guys on the next episode for the next event, which is I think Woodley and Burns is headlining this one on May 23rd next week.
On the 30th, actually, it got pushed back yesterday.
Oh, did it? Okay, so I don't know who's headlining the next one then.
So the 23rd is canceled, and it got moved to the 30th of this month.
Oh, did it? Okay,
yeah.
Got it. Okay, well then 2 weeks, huh?
Yes.
Oh wow, so we got a little nice little Christmas almost with the 3 cards in a span of a week, and then we're gonna do a 2 week break and get that one. Cool. All right, we'll catch you then, and good luck on your bets.
All right, later.